Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in and checking out my channel and my videos once again. Today I wanted to talk about something a little bit more practical than some of the other videos, although the other videos I think are going to be very helpful for you if you're looking to teach tennis. There are a few just logistical things that if you don't have experience, you probably wouldn't think about. One of those things is what kind of watch do you wear? What kind of watch do you wear when you're teaching tennis? Well, some guys will have a digital watch. Some guys will have a real nice fancy watch. Actually, hold on one second. I was actually just going to get one of the watches I wore before when I started teaching tennis. When I started teaching tennis, there was a guy by the name of Kim Henry. Kim Henry was the guy that I wanted to emulate as a tennis instructor. I thought he was a great instructor. He had a good style, good rapport with his clients. He had a very loyal fan base as well. When he was teaching on the court, he had a very nice watch, a metal band, just a classy watch. And so, because I wanted to emulate him, the first thing I did when I got my first paycheck as a tennis instructor was I went out and bought a fancy watch. And I thought that part of what made him such a successful tennis instructor was the fact that he had this nice watch, and so perhaps it was the case that people thought that he was a good instructor partially because he had a nice watch. It's sort of a status symbol as well. So this is the watch that I actually purchased. Let me see if I can put that in the webcam. So as you can tell, it's a pretty nice watch. When I bought it, this was, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. When I bought it, it was close to $200, and I thought it was a good investment. I needed a watch to time my lessons, pace the lesson. You know, one of the things that you'll learn as a tennis instructor is how do you pace your lesson? How much time do you spend on any one thing? Well, you got to know how much time you have left to know how you're going to get through the rest of the lesson. So you want to pace your lesson out. You're going to need a watch. So that's the watch that I got, and it lasted me for about a year before the band broke, and that kind of sucked. Anyway, what I learned from experience is that it's hard to have a nice watch with a metal band because you're so active. Because you're so active, you're feeding balls, you're playing tennis, you're running around. Eventually, that metal band is more than likely going to break. So don't invest a lot of money into a watch like the one I just showed you. There's a couple of things that you're going to be looking for in a watch. Number one, get an analog watch. Don't get a digital watch. The reason is that most of your lessons are going to be a half hour, 1 hour, hour and a half, whatever the case may be. It's usually in 30-minute intervals. And when you have a digital watch, you're going to be doing math. So if you start at 1 o'clock and your lesson ends at 1:30, you're looking at your digital watch, it's going to read something like 1:21. And you'll quickly have to do the math. Oh, I have 9 minutes left. All right, what am I going to do with the last 9 minutes? Or, you know, you start at 2:30 and your lesson ends at 3:30. And it's, what did I say, 2:30? 2:30 ends at 3:30, your watch will say 2:47. And now you're doing the math because it's digital. With an analog watch, you can look at the hour hand, you can look at the minute hand, and you can figure out spatially how much time you have left. And that's something that you'll get accustomed to and something that's going to help you out in your lessons. You can quickly look at the watch and figure out what you're going to do for the rest of the time, how you're going to pace the lesson. This is kind of important also because no one wants to take a lesson with a pro that's constantly looking at their watch. It makes the student feel like you can't wait for it to be done. Can't wait. It's another reason that you want to try not to forget your watch, because if you forget your watch, inevitably what's going to end up happening is that you're going to use your cell phone to keep track of what time it is, and that's terrible. Number one, people feel like you're checking your phone because the lesson is not that important. You're uninterested in the lesson. You're checking out your text. You want to make a call. You're waiting for a call, whatever the case may be. Even if you tell them that that's not the case, it still looks bad because sometimes you're teaching kids and the parents are watching from upstairs. They don't want you, they don't want to see you reaching for your phone, especially not every 10 minutes, okay? Eventually, you're going to get to the point where you don't really need to look at your watch as much. You can just sort of feel it out. Um, and once you get to that point, you know that you're beginning to really build your toolbox. When you do enough lessons that you can sort of instinctively know how much time has passed and how much time you have left, you're starting to get good. But get an analog watch. It's going to help. And if you have to check the time to see how much time you have left, how you want to pace the lesson, what I like to do is when I'm rolling the cart back or when I'm reaching for balls inside, what I'll do is I'm reaching with my left hand because I'm right-handed. I'm reaching with my left hand into the cart, and as I get the balls, I'll look down at the balls I'm picking up, or that's what they think. What I'm actually doing is looking at my watch to see how much time I have left, how much time has gone by, and I can pace the lesson a little bit better. The other thing you want, uh, like I said before, try to stay away from a digital watch. Analog watch, in my opinion, is a little bit better. Another thing you want is a stopwatch function on your analog watch. A lot of the fancier watches will call this a chronometer, stopwatch function, doesn't matter. You want something that will, at the very least, have a 60-second stopwatch function. The reason for that is that sometimes you'll want the kids to pick up balls in 30 seconds or 60 seconds. Once in a while, you may have to sit a kid out or sit a student out because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing and now they get a timeout. So you want a timeout, you tell them, you give them an exact number. You say you're going to be sitting down for 60 seconds and then afterwards you can rejoin us. Something like that, the student will be a lot more likely to be more cooperative when you tell them that. If you just tell them, all right, you're going to sit down, that to them doesn't make sense. You have to give them a time frame. Otherwise, they're just going to be fidgeting and doing all sorts of things, distracting your lesson some more. If they know for a fact that they have 60 seconds to sit on the bench, then they'll sit on the bench for 60 seconds and then they'll come back. But you have to have something to time out those 60 seconds. You can't just sort of freeball it there. Have your stopwatch function. That's useful. Sometimes there's running drills you want to do at the end of class or at the beginning, whatever the case may be. You want a stopwatch function for that as well. Okay, so number one, try to get an analog watch. It's better in my opinion. Have your analog watch, get one with a stopwatch function or a chronometer. The other thing is bands. You want a rubber band, or what I prefer is a fabric bands. My watch, my new watch, which I will show you now, has a fabric band. The fabric is woven similar to a seat belt in a car. I think that that's an excellent, excellent band for an athletic watch for a tennis pro. You're definitely not going to have any issues with the fabric band. It's not going to come apart. It's not going to fall off. And actually, the fabric bands for the watch that I have are easily interchangeable. So if you ever wanted to get a different color or something else, you could easily do that. I'll show that to you now. So that's what I've got right now. As you can tell, it's a little blurry in the webcam, but it's got a stopwatch function over here. It's got your time. It's got a day, so you can see what day it is. The fabric band is really nice. It's not going to fall apart on you when you're running around, and it's easily interchangeable. So this watch I actually got for less than $100, and it's a really nice watch. I've gotten several compliments on it, not just for tennis purposes, but just going out. It's a watch you can use at work. It's a watch you can use to go out. So in my opinion, you should look for something similar to what I have. Okay, if you find something else you like, no problem. Obviously it's a personal decision that you make, but that's what I have found to work the best with my experience. So I hope that helps. I know it's practical use. It's not as theoretical as some of the other stuff I was talking about, but practical things are important as well in our line of work. So thank you very much for listening, and if you haven't already, go check out my other videos. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to comment in the video or to send me a message on YouTube. And I think that's about it. All right, guys, play safe and keep it tight.